And hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. And as always, thanks so much for being here. I hope you enjoy the show, as I hope you've enjoyed all the shows that I bring to you every week, or whenever it's playing. I hope that you catch it often. Well, I have the pleasure of having a guest today who got in contact with me, which is wonderful. Her name is Gerry Porto, and she writes a column for the East Haddam and Haddam newspaper. And I'm thrilled to have her here as my guest today. And Gerry, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, great being here. Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you made the trip, so thanks for coming to the station.
Oh yeah, I got over the bridge.
Yeah, how'd you do with the bridge?
The bridge was a difficult thing this morning, but then this afternoon it was fine.
Oh,
we never know.
Exactly,
So we
know.
live in a constant state of anxiety in East Haddam. The whole thing about what is the bridge doing? Oh my God, 10 o'clock, a boat could be coming. Oh no, that's real. We're really a wreck over there most of the time, but it's okay.
Now, you had called me saying that you write a column for the East Haddam and Haddam News. Tell me how you got involved with the paper.
Well, first of all, I discovered that on March 10th, I don't know what was going on in the universe, but there were 12 things to do in this general area, all on the same day. And I wrote them all up and sent them into the editor of our paper. And he even called me and said, oh, the one about historic boats, I think I really want to do that in Stonington. But he didn't print it. So my friend who started the paper said to him, why didn't you put that in the paper? And he said, oh, we're only doing Haddam and East Haddam. And my friend said, we're branching out. We're gonna get out of Dodge. We're gonna do something different. So then I just started thinking about making a list of all the things I had done over the past year and a half. So I did a few, sent that article in, and so now the fourth one should be coming this week.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm having a great time doing it too.
What I like to do at the beginning of the show, which I may or may not mention to you, so forgive me for that, is to go into the background of the guest to introduce them to the viewer. So why don't you tell us about yourself? Take us back into your background.
Okay.
I know you were a teacher.
Yes. I taught mostly at Hale Ray High School in East Haddam. I finished teaching after 31 years, and then I subbed for 20, which was wonderful, especially subbing for Leslie and Bridget, who had been students of mine, and they were like so much better than I would ever have been. And then COVID came, so I stopped. And also, when I retired, then I started gardening for people, and that's really taken over my life now. Of course, I'm not subbing anymore, so I'm just mostly gardening. And I do have to, going back in my life, when I went to the Madison Lyric to see the show that oh my God, it'll come to me. The show that was set a long time ago. I saw it in 1964 in New York City. This first song is "Try to Remember." The Fantastics.
Okay.
The Fantastics, and they started to sing that first song. I started to tear up. The woman next to me is, and we had both seen it in 1964 in the Village in New York. So I lived in New York for a while, one-bedroom apartment with 4 women and a large dog.
Oh my.
And I worked for Scribner's because that's what English majors did then. You either taught or you went to work for a publisher. And my parents had an appliance store, and my father said, oh my God, you're making less money than I pay the man who helps me deliver appliances. But it didn't matter. I wanted to walk on the floors where Hemingway and Fitzgerald had walked once. So then got into teaching, and then that leads to the gardening and I guess writing a fair amount. So
New York. Tell me about New York City. What took you there? Are you from Connecticut originally?
Yes, I grew up in Wallingford.
In Wallingford,
yes.
Okay. What took you to Manhattan?
I think all the art history classes that I took, I wanted to get there. On summer nights, we would go over to the Seagram's building and put our feet in the water. I just wanted to be around all that art, go to all the museums, and just something different from Wallingford and Marietta, Ohio, where I went to school. So
right.
It was good.
So art history was your endeavor, if you will, in college?
Well, it was my minor, but I think I had more hours in that than I did in English, actually.
So that was an interest of yours. What about theater or anything else like that?
I don't know if that started when, then I moved to I was in New Haven for a while. And maybe that's when I started going to Yale Rep and Long Wharf. That could be it. And in New Haven, for 10 summers, I was taking care of a gorgeous house on St. Ronan Street, owned by people whom I certainly came to love a lot because I was living on the lake during the school year and then came into New Haven. So that was great. Wake up and you'd say, I think I'll go to New York today. Why not? You sure? Go to New York. It was perfect. And I thought if I wanted to go to the beach, just drove out to Madison. I think it's Waterbury Avenue. You can just park there, walk down the street, go to the beach for a while. Perfect, perfect. So anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, yes, okay.
As time has moved on and you have been teaching, did you do, I mean, we've got paperwork here of things that you've done, which you sent me in an email of just what you did in 2023 and 2024. What is your life like now? I mean, are you going to places and events all the time?
I am. And a lot of things are regular, like going up to Liverance Antiques for his forums, his talks in Colchester. That comes regularly, and I wouldn't miss one. Going to the Cape for the Met Operas, which I barely understand, but that's okay. I'm going to go. By golly, it's going to sink in one of these days. And then the shows on art, the films on art that the Flo Grizz does with the Kate. So you start to realize, okay, these things are happening regularly, put them on the calendar. And when I got to East Haddam in 1975, I immediately met 3 key people at the Goodspeed. So I have to go to everything at Goodspeed because when we get together, I can't sit there and say, oh no, I miss South Pacific. I can't do that. I have to, and then we all talk or we all email about what do you think, is the show good or bad? So that, and now I'm trying too to go to Goodspeed at Chester a lot.
How do you like that? That's in Roma Terrace.
Yes.
Different.
The one before this one I loved about the real man who, this person was born with the sex of both. He was raised as a boy. And everybody at Goodspeed knew him. He started a whole series of summer theaters, so that's how they knew him. All theater people know theater people. And in the winter, he lived as a man. In the winter, he went to Florida and lived as a woman. And he was perfectly happy. So that was a fabulous play, a true story. Everybody else loved the one that was just done, and I didn't. I thought it was kind of middle school humor, but that's okay. It's all right. The people next to me were shouting, and they loved it, and that's what counts. So
now, as you have been living your life and art history and things like that in Manhattan and so on and so forth, as you've moved on, you've branched out into other things, house tours, theater, etc. What made you start to grow your interest in other areas?
Well, about 20 odd years ago, I met Arnie Alberg, he had an antique shop in Guilford and one in Essex. And we have become very good friends over all these years. So that was never a part of my life. Antiques in Wallingford, that was just nothing I knew anything about. So then I got on to, not sure how I knew first about going up to Liverance Antiques in Colchester for what he calls his forums. This is so amazing. You go up there, they're 2:00 in the afternoon. He's also getting the ADA Award of Merit.
Oh my, look at that.
You go up there, you walk in the door and you swear, when they say hello so effusively, I'm always thinking there must be talking to somebody behind me. I've never bought anything there, but you can come and have Cato corner cheese, you can have the best wine, walk around. Before the talk, I swear some people come and that's lunch. Walk around, then there's a talk that he does with Kevin. The last one was on miniature furniture, about 8 inches. A dentist in the 20s, 30s, 40s, decided to make copies of the really good pieces in museums. And he made 54 of them, and Liverance has them all. So of course that talk went on for an hour and a half because we were all gaga over, and you can touch anything, he'll tell you. Sit in, oh, that's another thing, you sit down, and I always check the tag. I mean, am I sitting in $8,000 worth of chair here? Whatever. I mean, they just want you to come in and walk around, eat and drink, talk, and then the same people start to come year after year. I've learned so much. It's a wonderful thing. And his wife, Gigi, is a fantastic artist. She really is amazing. And she's been recording these talks. It might be possible to see them, I don't know. But it's better to just get on up to Colchester. Come early, stay later. He's always saying, what am I going to do with all this food? You people can't leave until it's a wonderful place.
We don't want to forget your gardening. I know that's important to you. Tell us about it.
Well, I got to a job that I had not been to in North Madison, actually. I hadn't been there since May 3rd. And I pulled up and I sat there and I thought, I can't do this. And the other part of my brain says, you've driven all the way from East Haddam, just start somewhere. Well, 6.5 hours later, I was working out in the front patio and Michael came home. Can I say this out loud? Because he said, holy shit. And I said, what's the matter? And he said, I just saw the pile that you made. It's like 5 feet tall and 8 feet long. You know how much could grow between May 3rd and August, I don't know, 18th, 17th? So something like that I love. I love getting to a disaster. And there's another huge garden right near me that I never knew about, behind a 1770 house, period house. And this man and his wife moved in 7 years ago. The tennis court is now raised beds of vegetables. There is a greenhouse with lemon trees and lime trees and grapefruit trees, and everything is grown from seed. He has a whole room set up to do. So it's, and then there's another big estate, really, at the Frederick Ray Estate on Ray Hill Road, owned by probably the dearest man in the world. And there's an upper patio, lower patio, fenced-in garden. So I love being in these places, especially if they need a lot of work.
Now, do you get involved with clubs that are doing gardening, or how are you finding these opportunities?
Well, yeah, I think I found all of that, but I've joined 2 garden clubs, thinking of a third, which is insanity. The East Haddam Garden Club and the Hadlime Hall Garden Club. What kind of people join these clubs? They're really terrific people, even if some of them don't even garden, but they know they might want to learn something, and it's a wonderful social thing too, connections with other people. So I do that, but no, I think I've come up, because this is my 24th year of, serious gardening for people. And I do both libraries. I did the Rathbun Library right when I retired, and a friend of mine was doing the Moodus Library, and then she died. And her husband had said, we have money in Barbara's name, so why don't you work with Ballock's Garden Center and replant the whole back of that library in memory of Barbara. So what could I do? Do that and then walk away? No. So now I do both libraries. And it's just so much fun because everybody's walking by, everybody says hello, everything looks wonderful. And then a friend of mine bought, once again, an older house with a beautiful property, a pond, and hired an architect to design his building for his package store. And I have done all of those gardens, huge. It's probably time to go back there. I feel like Bernie Madoff. You know how he would just give everybody a little bit of money to keep them in? If I just keep showing up every place, every once in a while, nobody's going to notice that I don't do the whole thing right away. I'll be back.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
I'm Deborah Gilbert. You tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
One of the most common cons this time of year is the utility scam. A bad actor may call or text you claiming to be with the utility company and threaten to turn off your electricity, saying you haven't paid your bill. They may also try to steal your money and sensitive personal information through a fake home energy assessment. This ruse often includes a phony credit check, which requires you to hand over your banking information and even your social security number. They may claim they can save you money on your energy bills if you buy their discounted equipment, but all you'll get is a big credit card bill. Always check with your utility company before letting someone into your home. Even if they're wearing credentials, they may be fake. Also, utility companies won't call or text you out of the blue threatening to turn off the lights. And while they do energy assessments, you have to set them up ahead of time. They don't just send people knocking on doors. For more information on how to protect yourself, visit Better Business Bureau at bbb.org. And to report a scam, visit bbb.org/scam tracker.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and I hope you're enjoying the show. My conversation continues on with Gerry Porto. And Gerry, we were just talking during the break. I said, what do you want to talk about next? And you're mentioning iLand. Is that what it's called?
iPark?
iPark. Tell us about that.
I don't even know why it's called iPark. So besides Liverance up in Colchester, iPark is in East Haddam. It's in its 24th year. And this is a place where artists come from all over the world, all over the country for 4 weeks. Just stay for free, do your thing, and then at the end of the 4 weeks there's always an open studio day when you can just come to the property, walk around, see what they're doing. And
here's iPark.
here's iPark.
Oh, fabulous.
And then they have days when you can come and just walk the property. And we've got 24 years worth of people's projects all over all these acres, so it's just delightful. Take this path, take that path, see what, maybe you missed something the last time you were there. It's really incredible, and what they're doing for artists. Plus, how interesting to talk to these people from, I don't know, Sweden, whatever, wherever. It's really, really incredibly wonderful. And she wanted me to mention, Joanne wanted me to mention that they also, this is a music year, and I don't know if I can hold it somewhere. There is a concert in Chester on, is it Saturday, 24th, I think?
Good.
But yes, it's a wonderful, wonderful place.
The reason that you and I had met to begin with was the column in the newspaper. Is it about arts and entertainment in the area that it's about?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So then how do you find your subject matter?
Well, one thing is the Post Road Review.
Okay.
And the Valley Courier.
Okay.
And this, I think, is where I found out about you.
Okay.
These are two important things, and probably, I don't know if there's much in here. And
You brought a lot of things with you besides all this paperwork.
And really, everybody should get the Antiques and the Arts Weekly. But you also have an amazing person right here in Madison, Alan Katz, who is, what's the word? Where's my notes? Not folk, what happened to my notes? Here's my notes. Alan Katz. Folk art. And Liveron did a whole thing on folk art. But when there was a Madison house tour a few years ago, his house was open, his gallery was open. I'm sure it's only by appointment, but wonderful folk art with him. I think also, this isn't up where I live, but you know about Cardone and Daughter, right?
Yes.
Our place. Well, a friend of mine has his car over there. The work order is 17 pages long because he's been accepted to do the Great Race. Do you know about the Great Race?
No.
I didn't know either. It usually starts somewhere in the Midwest, Minnesota, Michigan, and then comes somewhere on the East Coast. I think this year they ended up in Gardner, Maine. Next year, one of the Carolinas. They prefer cars made before World War II, but my friend's car is 1960. He doesn't know how he got in. He's not asking any questions. He's so happy. It's $7,000 to do it, and you win $50,000 if you win. But the same person has won for the last 5 years, so I don't think George is planning on winning. I mean, maybe he will. But they give tours over there. Do you know that?
No.
Yes. George said, go over there. The big sign is right out, tours. And David Cardone will take you around this spotless place. He said, oh, once a week we wash the floor. Huh? Okay, looks fine to me. The cars are incredible. He has stories about every car that they're working on in the building, and then there's some outside. But one drop of rain, those cars are back inside. For the night, they're back inside. These cars are treated like, even somebody's Volkswagen is treated the same as the Alfa Romeo, the whatever. But it's wonderful to go there and have a tour with him. It is just, I don't know why he does it.
Did you think as you were aging, you had your schooling, that you were teaching, that you would be doing so many things in your spare time and now full time? You've retired?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
In '01. Yeah.
That you're going to places and doing things and writing all about it. Is this something that's been of interest of yours for a while?
I don't know when it got quite to this obsessive point.
I mean, this page is filled, folks. It's unbelievable what she did in 23 and 24. It's unbelievable. Museums, the Kate, everything.
There's so much around here. I mean, because of you, then I went to Legacy.
Yep.
And when the Legacy people were here, because I watched that show, she didn't mention, I walked into the theater and just stopped dead in my tracks saying, I need to know who was the architect here. This is unbelievable. And I think I'm right that there's a little like balcony over here of maybe 6, 8 rows, and each one is one seat. Like row A, seat 1, row B, seat 1. So that's my next place to sit. And then I didn't know until I saw your show about the Saybrook stage.
Yeah.
And that show was amazing. Started at 2, ended at 10 of 5, 15 different little stories, all set in this one cabin in the woods, and 9 people did all of these parts. This wasn't like you go to be an actor and you're gonna have the same character all the way through. These people had to switch characters like every 4 minutes or something. There's so much going on around here, it's just amazing.
And I think that's what people don't realize, which is one of the perks of doing this show, is that there are so many people doing so many things in this area that people are unaware of. And I get many viewers that'll be in touch with me saying, I didn't know, just like you didn't know about Saybrook Stage.
Well, and so many people are, dealing with their children, their grandchildren, whatever. So I have a lot of extra time that I think a lot of people don't. And to get into history, HISTOURY, they do house tours. I just did one in Wilton, one in Weston, on the Hudson River. I'm madly in love with mid-century modern houses, so I did 3 of those tours. And then there was a tour, and it said Victorian house. And I called her and I said, I'm not a big fan of Victorian. She said, you have to do this tour. No, you have to do this tour. So the 2 of the houses were the fabulous, charming, wonderful gatehouses to big estates. And of course, those buildings were long gone. And another one was like the farmhouse to a big estate. And that was wonderful. Then we pull up to this mansion. Okay, walk up to the door, and there's a little woman, maybe even a little older than I am, and she says, I'm Monica Getz, and this was the house that she had lived in with Stan Getz from the 1960s.
My.
This woman says, come on in, to 50 people, come on in. And we're in the music room, and she's talking about all these people who had sung and done music with Stan in that room. Took us all around. There were like 3 living rooms, huge screen porch, whatever. She didn't want us to go. And they said, no, the bus, we've got to go the bus. And she said, well, first. And we all went up, all 50 of us went up the main stairway because she wanted a photograph of us. The company is amazing.
Now, are you driving to all of these locations yourself, or are they bus tours?
Once I get to where I'm going, Wilton, Weston, Tarrytown, Dobbs Ferry, then you're on a bus for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really know Wilton and Weston very well. So you're driving through through some areas, looking at some houses or buildings in some cases. I think there was a historic theater we saw in one of those towns, Terrytown. And then you go inside 5 or 6. And you spend, these people, having just done that Madison house tour, by the way, the Essex house tour is coming up in December. I think that there is a special spot in heaven for people who think it's just great. 50 people, come on through, in many cases upstairs, downstairs, all over your yard. And it's so wonderful when they're there and they can talk to you about the house, maybe what they've done to it or how long they've been there. So yeah, I'm a big fan of house tours. Oh, there was one in Haddam recently. The house tours in Haddam are always terrific. There's always a theme. Wonderful, wonderful. I don't know why everybody doesn't do it. But they probably have other things to do, like they have to go to a baseball game or something.
Sure. Well, we are starting to slowly run out of time. Any advice to the viewer that you would like to leave them with? Do what you're doing, right?
Well, I hate
get out of your house and go.
People have a lot of other things they have to do. They don't have as much free time as I do. So, but if you can, and come on out to iPark and on the days when it's just open grounds and just walk, or go up to Liverance, go early, get there by 1:30, just walk around, just looking at this. This is the best of the best in terms of antique furniture and stuff. And they just love people in there. They love it. And then stay later, finish the cheese.
Okay. Thank you very much for being here today. It's been wonderful and so informative. I thank you for coming.
Well, I thank you for starting everything up with me. Thank you so much.
I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned into Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.